Hello all again. Today I'll be discussing the 1987 feature from Ruggero Deodato, The Barbarians, starring Peter and David Paul, known as the Barbarian brothers. This is their first foray into acting, as it were. I quite like those sword and sorcery films of the 1980s. I have a real soft spot for them. And so I'd seen The Barbarians some years ago, and now I'm watching it again as part of my amateur ad hoc retrospective on Ruggero Deodato's output. And so here we are with what is essentially one of Deodato's better or best films. I think most film directors they'd balk at the idea that this is one of their best or better films, one of the creative heights of their output. Although, I would genuinely suggest that The Barbarians is an endearing picture. Yes, we can all laugh at the kind of crass and I guess amateur acting of the brothers. Although they are having so much fun on set, it appears to me that there's just an infectious contact high from it. Frankly, I think the sets are quite good. I think Deodato and his cinematographer did a really good job at staging some worlds here and there. I've tried to demonstrate this sufficiently in my screen caps here. Hopefully, I did, considering this improvised video here. There's a lot to like about this film, actually. Michael Berryman is present. We have let me just read out. I just want to double check some of these. Eve LaRue, very striking. She portrays the long lost younger sister of these barbarian brothers. Also very striking is what's the name of the actress who plays the sorceress? Sheba Alahani is a beautiful woman. I will say that. She's in a few screen caps. Apparently, her only film credit, along with what appears to be a short documentary about. I don't know what else I can share about this film. What we have. Well, let me say this actually. This is the kind of film that would have been dismissed for years during the VHS era. What we have to understand is that this has been released on Blu-ray since. It looks fantastic. You're probably thinking, "Oh wow, some of this film looks really, really good." Why was this ignored for so long? Because on VHS, it looked like absolute. It looked like a shipwreck, right? Like it looked like literally like a bubbly submerged shipwreck. And VHS was a very, very, in hindsight, subpar means of collating a film library. I mean, it's I don't know. It'd be like imagine if you had a cassette collection. You wouldn't get a cassette collection instead of a vinyl or CD collection. You're gonna appreciate all of the audio engineering on the dark side of the moon via a cassette transfer. Probably not. The VHS transfers of films was really it really did the films a disservice, and I think a lot of people were assuming that these films were so low budget. Look at the horrible cameras they were shooting on. And it's like, no, celluloid. They were shooting on good celluloid. It was just the transfer was horrid. These films don't deserve the mockery. I think they were very able productions. I think The Barbarians is a lot better than it really ought to be, considering, the plausible cynicism around the production. I think Deodato must have really elevated this work, as well as I suspect it seems like a film where everyone's having a great time on set. Maybe the reality was completely different, although they've disguised it thoroughly. Ruggero Deodato, he hasn't been as interesting as, across his career as his predecessor, say, Antonio Margheriti, and he doesn't have as many works of note as even an Umberto Lenzi. He's obviously known Lucio Fulci, Sergio Martino's work in the 70s, flaws Deodato's. So what is the relevance of Deodato? Realistically, it's the fact that he directed Cannibal Holocaust. I know this is a strange thing to say. If you took Cannibal Holocaust out of his filmography, and why it's a strange thing to say is because, there would be no rest of his filmography without Cannibal Holocaust. I know. Imagine you don't have Cannibal Holocaust, but you still have House on the Edge of the Park onwards. I don't think people would consider Deodato as highly. I think inevitably, The House on the Edge of the Park and Cut and Run, Jungle Holocaust perhaps, films such as Barbarians, Phantom of Death, maybe. These films would eventually get some note by fans of this genre, and Deodato would be considered, maybe a B tier Italian exploitation director. I think he's been elevated to A tier, and in some circles, he's venerated as kind of this one of these subversive like film artists, almost like an Amos Vogel or a I don't know, like a proto Haneke or something like that. There's some love for Deodato in more auteur theory places where they discuss film as a subversive art, or talk about the merits of Sallow as a masterpiece. Pasolini's film. I'm not saying it is or it isn't. I'm not even going to go there, frankly. A straightforward film, a simple film, a silly film. But The Barbarians makes me feel as though that this is a good thing that it is this.